Am I coming? I can see myself. Or should it be twisted? It has to be made towards your side, this camera? I can see. Mhm. Camera click करो. Can you click? Okay. I'm visible now. You wait for another few minutes when it comes. It's not yet one, huh? Okay. Okay. Is it all right now? Towards my. Okay. Now I have to give my personal introduction, or you will be giving? I hope we aren't earlier than the laid down timing. I hope. I think I will be able to finish up within the laid down timing only. In fact, I kept slightly lesser to more time for the question answers. Oh, I should I start, or do you have to give introduction of me or the sub? Okay. Yes, I can see the comments. We can have question answer session at the end only. I'm putting on to that. Yes, you can cut the call, please, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege for me to be talking through the platform of Physical Education Foundation of India to the wide audience onto this thing. And I am grateful to Dr. Piyush Jain, Secretary, Physical Education Foundation of India, for giving me an opportunity to talk on the subject of physical education and culture in Indian universities and colleges. Well, the subject of physical education has been widely covered, and connected with that is the subject of sports culture. And before I come on to the word sports culture, let me first elaborate a bit on culture. How did the word culture originate and when it was coined onto this? The word culture comes from the Latin word cultura, which means to tend, to guard, to cultivate, and to till. And by the middle of the 15th century, it came out to be cultivation through education. So the catchwords initially, one was cultivation and later on through education. So education became an integral part of the culture to advance it and develop it. And in mid 19th century, it linked to the ideas about the collective customs and the ways of life of different societies. Basically, what it implies, it is a collective customs. It is not an individual effort. Of course, it is the individuals who tend to make it a culture. And it is the collective customs and ways which have been developed over a period of time. It started with the societies, like we have the British culture, we talk about the Spanish culture. In India, we talk about the various state cultures, we talk about the traditional culture, we talk about the tribal culture, we talk about our socio-political, various religious cultures, etc. They all have their origin from this particular word. And it is defined as the way we do things or the way we behave around. So it is we as a society. So the culture has been defined as the sum total of various ideals, belief systems, and behavioral patterns developed over a period of time for a specific times. So the catchword in the culture is the behavioral patterns which have been developed over a period of time. And these behavioral patterns are prevalent in each and every organization. These are the observable behaviors. They are there in any smaller organization, they are there in any sports team, they are in the corporate world, they are very much in the armed forces, and they are very much at the highest level in the security domain. For example, in the security domain, we have something called a strategic culture, which is the use of force or the use of armed forces to resolve interstate affairs. Whether a state uses it proactively or it acts in defense, they form part of the unwritten strategic culture. So culture is a critical factor in the success of any organization, a team, group, whether larger or smaller. And the behavioral pattern, what is the crux of the definition, is developed by doing and applying a particular thing. What it implies is the action. Stephen Covey, in his book, The Eighth Habit, said, purpose leads into action and the action form habits. And I take it further, the habits form the behavioral pattern and that becomes the culture. That is what I take it. So what for us is the challenge is to develop a behavioral pattern of sports culture in Indian universities and colleges. Now, before I come on to that, what do we employ? What do we mean by sports culture? Obviously, every culture is different. Every culture has got a different definition. Sports culture is basically a large framework wherein people follow sports. So there are two components of the sports culture. One is the people and other is the doers, the athletes. So both complement each other. So the larger majority, it is the followers, the fans or supporters. And whom do they support? A selected minority. The doers, the athletes, the players, they are fewer in number. So the performance of this minority induces the mass following or not. Let us take the example of cricket in India. The Indian cricket team in all the three formats is in the first three positions at the international level. Till a few weeks back, it was the number 1 in Test cricket. Now it is number 3. It is number 2 in one day, and it is number 3rd in T20 international cricket rankings. So, due to the performance of the cricket team at the international level, we tend to follow cricket like a religion, and that is the cricket culture. So, we say in India there is cricket culture. Conversely, in other games where we have not performed well at the international level, barring few medals in hockey, the last time we won a hockey gold medal was in 1980. And recently, of course, we have started winning medals and a gold medal too in the Olympics in shooting, and also been coming up very well in badminton and other events, individual events too. But nevertheless, they haven't come up to the level of a sports culture. So we call ourselves India lacks a sports culture, what follows a cricket culture, if I can say so. So that is how to define a sports culture here in India. The advanced countries, namely the European countries, the United States, the Soviet Union, Canada, China, they have got very developed physical education programs. China has developed a viable and a sustainable sports culture only in the last 2 decades or so. And among the developing nations, South Korea has come up very well. So are Malaysia, Singapore. They have attuned their system of physical education in recent years to the level of international competitions. We can say sports culture is thus a combination of macro trends, a trend formed by the vast majority and the selected few who brings glory at the international level, and both are complementary to each other. And to develop a viable sports culture in the universities, it necessitates a long-term vision, planning, managing, and operating very efficiently at various levels. And once we say sports culture, it doesn't start in the universities. It starts from the school education programs. Colleges and universities take it further, and thereafter they proceed to the next level, that is at the national level. What we need, coming on to the basic part, the subject of today's talk, that is the sports culture in universities and colleges. What type of sports culture we are looking for in our universities and colleges? I would call it an integrated and a homogeneous sports culture consisting of 4 important pillars, the 4 verticals. The first one is the physical education and activity program in the colleges and the universities. Second is the sports program, again in colleges and universities. And for the sports programs, we need a backup, we need a support system, and that support system in terms of scientific backup, that is scientific coaches, scientific trainers, scientific nutritionists, physiotherapists, and a whole lot of backup support system. And also part of the support system is infrastructure requirements. And the fourth and the last one, most importantly, is the assured employment opportunities. If we have anything missing out of these 4 pillars, in my view, we will not be able to develop a viable and a sustainable sports culture in our universities and colleges. Therefore, we need to rejuvenate all the 4 levels at all levels. I mean to say, with physical education, that also needs scientific. They also need an infrastructure. It is not only related to the sports system. If we do not rejuvenate all the levels, we will not be able to achieve a viable sports culture and not achieve excellence at the national and at the international level. Purpose sports culture, besides of course mental health, physical fitness, to ward off various diseases, etc., etc. Now I will take each of these things separately. We have got a physical education and an activity program. What does physical education and activity program implies? Number one thing, physical education and sports are an integral part of the learning process and they are complementary to each other. They say physical education is the foundation for every sports program. Some writers have termed physical education is milk and sport butter. Only a good quality milk can produce a better quality butter, that is sports. That is the linkage, and rightly so. In case we do not develop a viable physical education program right from our schools, we can't be expected to produce international athletes and sports. Now, physical education and activity is further, it has got two parts. One is the physical education, which is basically the academic contents, a sequential program that provides students with the knowledge, with the required skills, the required attitudes to lead a healthy lifestyle and produce physically educated individuals through a well-conceived and efficiently organized activity. Now this organized activity could be further subdivided into two parts. One is physical activity and one is a physical exercise. In the army we term it physical training. While the physical activity, it is a broader domain. Though it is at the lower spectrum, but it is a broader domain in which physical exercise is sub part of that. And what is physical exercise? We can call it physical training. It is a planned, a structured, a repetitive and a purposeful activity with the singular objective of maintaining or improving levels of physical fitness. And physical exercise is defined as a single bout of bodily exertion or muscular activity that requires an expenditure of energy levels above the resting levels. That's why we have seen what type of particular physical activity or physical exercise, how much calories it burns. If we carry out walk for a particular time at a particular speed, the number of calories burned are higher than a casual walk and talk. In fact, a casual walk and talk, what we call it casually, cannot be termed as a physical exercise. A brisk walk could be termed as a physical exercise, not a casual walk. We won't be able to drive the required advantage of a particular exercise if we just remain it is in a casual form, that is, you can say, at the lower scale. Even people talk of going to the market, it's a physical activity. Yes, it may be a physical activity, but it is in the lower spectrum of the physical exercise, and what we require in the universities and the colleges is a regime of physical exercise. We next come on to the part sports program. That is the next program from the physical education. We graduate to the organized sports program. Now these organized sports programs are also at two levels. One is the amateurist and scholastic sports, which are at the school, college and university level. Even some writers call it a student athlete. That is, he is first a student and thereafter he is an athlete. And this type of amateur sport we all a majority of us, I won't say a majority, a large number of individuals who have the potential and who have the interest and the passion, they pursue this amateuristic sport and the educational institutions. And this is an activity which the students have developed during their high school education and have developed a passion for one or more sports activities of their own choosing. And then that becomes the basis for their major sports and growth of individual players. So basically at this level you can say, as far as the amateuristic sports, the development of the amateuristic sport, there always comes a conflict between the career and the sports. Whether this pursuing a particular sport will provide him a viable career opportunity or not, well, that all students, all sportsmen, they face this particular challenge. The next level is the competitive sports at the national and the international level, which are a very selected few who participate at the national and the international level from the universities and the college, and these are the individuals who have got the talent, they have the skill to excel at the international level, and they do undergo very intense specialized and individual training with the help of coaches trained in scientific subjects, and they strive very hard to overcome all the athletic limitations to successfully compete at the international level. Their victories, their success at the international level particularly generates a moral stimulus for the development of the amateur sport. Amateur sport further trigger a whole lot of interest in the physical education activity. So that is the linkage between all the three activities, etc., or the other two activities between physical education at the school and the school level, then the physical education and the physical exercise at the college level, from where we graduate to the amateuristic sport and which further graduate into the competitive sport, and they are all linked together. Now we need, particularly at the international level, we need a sports system to back up. A sports system in terms of scientific coaches and scientific trainers, scientific nutritionists, physiotherapists for faster and quicker recovery, and that is what is required. A sports system also is in terms of research activity in various exercise and physical educational programs, because based on a certain amount of research, it generates further various stimulus for a particular activity or a particular strength to be developed in each of the athletes. And this development is primarily driven by an increasing urge of athletic trainers, of athletes, to look for the best possible strategies to enhance their performance. And enhancing the performance is further related to the growth of professional sport onto this. Either you perform at the international level or you perish at the international level. Until that, if you do not perform at the international level, the competition is so stiff, you tend to degenerate. So therefore, exercise science has become a very complex field. It is a complex field for research and development, and it is a complex field for application in the development of the sportsmen onto that. It requires, and there's a whole lot of scientific subjects which have come up for the development of the athletes, subjects which were unheard few years back, but are now an essential part of the development of the athletes. The subjects are exercise physiology, kinesiology, biomechanics, sports sociology, sports psychology, sport pedagogy, and many more as the building blocks for the development of an athlete at the international level. And without science, somebody has rightly said, physical education and sport would be a spirited angel beating its luminous wings in vain. For true it is, and that is the significance of scientific coaching required for the development of an athlete. And this is the qualitative requirement. Gone are the days when we can only develop on the quantitative aspects of training. I have carried out a training for this particular part, or that is a scientific coaching is the need of the hour in India. Now, as far as infrastructure is required, this needs no elaboration. The requirement of a state-of-the-art infrastructure where technology is inbuilt into the equipment as well as the required infrastructure, it is an imperative for development of the sports. Till 1970s, Indian hockey team used to be in the finals of all the Olympics, etc. Whether you win a gold medal or a silver, but in the 70s or the late 80s came the AstroTurf, a new technological thing, where India took a lot of time to adjust to the technological requirements, and that's why there was a decline in the performance of the Indian hockey team. We were unable to build it into the required technological requirements of the infrastructure. Well, gentlemen, having touched upon the theoretical aspects, try to highlight what are the trends in the sports industry. Unless we do not know the trends in the sports industry, where our students in colleges and universities after graduating, if they have to pursue a career, I think we will not be doing justice to the subject onto this. There are four important trends which have emerged in the sports industry in the recent past. One, of course, is the social factor. The well-being and recreational activity has, and rightly so and appreciably, it has become an important component of the society. We have seen open stadiums coming up in urban areas. In villages too, we have seen dedicated grounds being earmarked for this thing. We have got a whole lot of indoor gymnasiums which have come up, and they are all, and moreover, it is the age profile of the Indians which provides stimulus to the social factor for the development of the gymnasiums, for the development of the outdoor stadiums, etc. Gentlemen, 63% of the population is between the age profile of 15 to 64 years, and 27% is between 15 and 29 years. They are full of energy. They want to develop physical activity, make physical activity as part of their curriculum, as part of their daily routine. And along with the social factor, it is the emergence which I briefly touched upon, is the technological factors which have come. There is a whole lot of advanced technology which is not only necessary to enhance the performance, what the technology has been built into the equipment, it has been built into the stadiums, it has been built into the entire sports system without which we cannot do it onto that. The videography of our actions, what we do it on the play field, is a huge feedback system to know to us whether we are doing the thing right or wrong onto that. And the next factor is the emergence of the private sector into the sports industry. It started with the Indian Premier League, that is the IPL Cricket League, in 2008, and since then the huge success of the IPL has triggered a whole lot of leagues coming up in India. We now have a Kabaddi League, we now have a basketball, we have a soccer league, we have a badminton league, and all these things have developed over a period of time. The sponsorships, the media houses, etc., have come into the private sector in a big manner. And to supplement all these efforts, ladies and gentlemen, it is the government initiatives. A whole lot of government initiatives have come up, like the national sports policy was revived, basically broad basing sports and to excel at the international and at the international level. There's a Sports Authority of India training center schemes where they train the coaches and they provide in-house training, coaching and nutritional assistance to various sports persons onto this thing. Last year on the Sports August Day on 29th August, a Fit India movement was launched, where the Prime Minister himself instructed everyone to take up sports because it has a direct bearing on our fitness, and fitness obviously is a necessity for a healthy and meaningful life. And to supplement all these things, it is the Khelo India program, which aims at mainstreaming sport as a tool for individual development, for community development, for economic development, and as part of the nation building at the larger level. And this particular revamped Khelo India program has, rather you can say, has given a push to the entire sports system right from the schools up to the university levels. It has given an impetus to the infrastructure, it has given an impetus to the scientific coaching, it has given an impetus for also the employment opportunities. And that's why a large number of infrastructures and infrastructure organizations have come up in India for the development of the sports. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to take the Khelo India program, it is heartening to learn a steady increase in the sports budget of India. From a mere 1121 crores in 2011-12, it has almost a little less than tripled it has come up now. The budget allotment for sports in the year 2021 is 2,826. Last year it was 2,776, and fortunately the complete allotment has been expended onto that. And these are rather, you can say, very essential programs which are giving impetus to the development of the sports culture in India. And way back in 2014, the requirement of the sports jobs opportunities, because every individual whosoever is there, he would look for a viable sports job, because it is a sports field in which he has spent his youth into this thing. He would be unfit at any other field of this thing. So obviously it is the sports which has to create the employment opportunities for that particular individual so that it becomes a part of the ecosystem right from the school right to the school. In 2014, FICCI, that is the Federation of the Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, identified more than 40 lakh jobs in various sectors. And a large number of jobs, we have seen it coming up onto this thing. Nearly 23% of these jobs have gone to the sports science sector, where the talent identification, scientific coaches, nutritionists, data analytics have come up, the jobs which were unheard few years back. Then we have the sports management, the marketing, the sponsorship, the specific or the specialized sports media persons, then the promotions, and coming up is the legal part, the lawyers, sports lawyers, because so many, that is the World Anti-Doping Agency requirements have come up, we need the sports lawyers. The requirement of the scientific coaches and the trainers has never been down onto this thing. And similarly, rightfully so, a big push is being given for the development of the traditional and the rural sports among our villages. All these combined together has predicted a job requirement. Well, that was, I think, 2014, and how much has been job, I have not been able to get the exact data. What that is reflects the fast growing sports industry in all its manifestations. To supplement all these job opportunities, I would like to highlight the Sports Authority of India on 31st of January 2020. It advertised 341 vacancies for various sports, particularly related to the sports science, sports medicine, and paramedical staff at the various size centers. That's the Sports Authority of India centers, which have been developed at large number of places. Of course, the important central one remains NIS Patiala. What we have now, the NIS in Guwahati, we have got a NIS in Bangalore and various other places. And some of these jobs, just to make everybody aware that these are the jobs which are opening up in the sports industry, is the anthropometrist, exercise physiologist, with a great pay, with a pay of ranging from 80,000 to 1 lakh per month. Of course, they have to be PhD, they have to have the master's degree in physiology. Similarly, strength and conditioning experts, their pay scale is from 1 lakh to 1 lakh 50,000 per month. The requirement is obviously again a master's degree and a PhD in strength conditioning, sports science, sports coaching, etc. And then accordingly we have got the posts in biomechanics, we got the posts in psychologist. And this gentleman, the mental conditioners, there is very little difference between a sportsman A and a sportsman B at the national level. Who wins or who loses, I think the mental conditioning plays a very, very important role. All the coaches, all the commentators, they keep highlighting cricket, after all, is a mind game. I don't visualize any other game, any game which is not a mind game. Isn't golf a mind game? It is more played between the 2 ears rather than we play it on the 18 holes. Similarly, we have got the sports medicine, we have got the physiotherapist, all these things are there. Now, gentlemen, we come on to the last part of the way forward for the universities and colleges. How we develop the sports culture in the Indian universities and colleges. First of all, there is a requirement in India to alter the mindset. We continue to be bogged down by the saying, खेलोगे कूदोगे होगे खराब पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब. If you study hard, you will live like a king. What if you play sports, you will ruin your life. This is the unfortunate part of the mindset which is undergoing a change, but rather at a slower pace. There is a need to recognize that health and sports are an essential component of the human resource development and also an essential aspect of the nation building. Without this, we cannot progress further. Is there any developed nation which is not excelling in the sports? Take the United States, take the Soviet Union, all the 5 permanent members of the Security Council by and large are the first 5 in all international sports competitions. Should we make physical exercise a compulsory subject? Well, it is a huge challenge. A huge challenge in the sense most of the youngsters, somehow they have tuned to playing video games in air-conditioned rooms, and due to the corona pandemic, we have gone on to the concept of online teaching in educational institutions, which will further act as a resistance to any outdoor activity. Well, then how do you motivate them to go outdoors in any physical activities? Well, gentlemen, at this juncture, I will say that the corona pandemic, it's a crisis, but every crisis brings in it a large number of opportunities. We are in a unique position to convert this crisis into an opportunity of developing a physical education program in our universities and culture, which in turn will lead to the sports culture onto this. And to supplement this, there is a World Health Organization study. About 2 years back, it identified lack of physical activity as the 4th leading risk factor for global mortality rates. It is estimated that the physical inactivity leads to 21 to 25% of cancer patients, 27% for diabetes, and 30% for the heart disease. Therefore, it brings me to the next question. Should we make physical exercise program compulsory in universities and colleges? I would definitely say yes. It is required to make a compulsory subject. For being an army man, I would not support the strictness what the army introduces in the system. I don't want to add additional burden on the students. My idea is to create an urge amongst the students so that on their own they get tuned they automatically become tuned to the requirement of physical exercise. It is a necessity, but it needs to be introduced in a gradual, in an innovative and a participative manner involving the students, etc. It need not be a strict regime that yet on a particular day you will do yoga or you will do any physical activity. Let the universities and the colleges create an infrastructure for the students and make it attractive in a manner that the students automatically feel like coming in the morning to do a particular activity. We can initially start, let us say, make it 3 or 4 days a week only, and gradually we can make it 6 days or 5 days or 6 days a week onto that thing. We got to give a wider choice to the students, only then it would look attractive. We got to make it innovative, we got to make it more participative. Let the teachers and the students combine, do it in particular. There are so many innovative ideas which both the students and the teachers can look upon this. We have got 6th June is a yoga day and 29th August is a National Sports Day. Do we want to make it only a one-day event? Well, that is what the trend is on. I think we have to reverse this trend. Should we take an audit on a particular day on 29th August or on 6th June? Since how much yoga we have started doing every day or every week, or we don't want to do it only on that particular day particularly for the photo ops? No, that is not the requirement. It should be made a process, not a one-day event. We have to have the mass participation, and it has to be made more interesting and innovative onto that. And we need to provide the physical trainers. Otherwise, just practicing yoga without any guidance, it will not be useful onto that thing. And there is a need. That is the physical education part. What about the competitive sports onto that thing? That we need to give incentives to the high performing students, the high performing teachers, the high performing schools, the high performing colleges and the universities. We need to give due credit and the importance to the distinguished sportsmen. The universities and the colleges need to tie up with the federations and the corporate houses for placement of sportsmen and other students in their wide opening job opportunities. We need to understand the sports is a fast expanding industry, and the colleges and the universities have to align with the private sector, have to align with the sports federations. Only a synchronized and an integrated approach can help us to develop a viable and a sustainable sports culture in the Indian universities and colleges. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I come to the end of my talk. Do you have any questions? I will be most willing to answer those questions. I didn't note down the questions, what has been coming it on the screen. Now you are most welcome to ask any questions, and I will be too glad to share with you my thought process on those. वैसे वेव का मतलब क्या है? टच नहीं करना? अच्छा कौन बैठा? Are there no questions? Hello? Hello?
It is only question.
Yes, nobody can. Well, the question has come, are all things practically possible? Well, over a period of time, I would say yes. Initially, we do have problems. We will encounter certain constraints, but every major achievement, every major thing starts with small steps. And developing the sports culture is no different from anything else. Please scroll down. Scroll down.
बंद कर हाँ और क्या होता है